Hello, welcome to Learning How to Can Fruits and Vegetables. I'm your hostess, Darlene Wagner. These are wild blackberries picked up in northeast Georgia, Hall County, White County area. They tend to be a bit tart, on the tart side. So to mellow them out, we're going to mix some farm-raised blueberries in with them. Notice the size cup I'm using. I'm filling up past the 2-cup mark to have 3 cups of blueberries, and I had previously added 9 cups, or 3 of these filled up with the wild blackberries. Now I'm taking dome lids and screw top jar bands like this to put them in with the jars, our mason jars, which are already starting to be brought to a boil. It is very important in home canning that your jars and your lids are sterilized in boiling water. So here I'm doing some mashing. If you want them a finer mash, you use a potato masher. I personally prefer the closest thing to whole berries as possible, even though blackberries can sometimes be grainy. But I will see if I can strain out some of the larger, more resistant blackberries towards the end of the process. Otherwise, mash them apart a little bit and leave them in. For people who prefer clear jam, you're going to want to invest in a strainer of some sort. Now it is time to add the sugar. This is 4 cups, but I'm going to need at least 3 more cups after this, because with blackberries you want to have at least 7 to 8 cups of sugar. Get this mixed in before I add more. Doing some mixing, more mixing, and also it's a good idea to not use sugar substitutes. They're not chemically equivalent to table sugar and will thus not give you the same results. It can be done, it's just a different procedure than what we're doing here. Also, you do not want to use too much heat. You don't want your berries to stick to the bottom and burn. You also want to use a thick pot, preferably with non-stick surface. But even if it's not a non-stick surface pot, as long as it's thick enough to prevent burning and sticking to the bottom. And you don't want to use high heat. Middle, low to medium is fine. Now it is time to add the gelling agent, fruit pectin. I mix it in with a cup of sugar, so we're going to be adding a total of 8 cups of sugar here. The pectin is the same color as the sugar, so it's better. You get better results if you mix it in with sugar when you add it. And it's also a good idea to maybe have a spare packet of the fruit pectin available, maybe some that it's only been half used the last time, just to add a little supplemental pectin in if you're having trouble noticing gelling. And also you want to keep in mind that since the time you first saw the fruit cooking in this pot, over 30 minutes have passed. So this is not an activity for impatient people. I've been watching this boil and stirring this off and on for the past 45 minutes. So a total of an hour and a half has elapsed since we first started processing these berries. But now I'm finally at a point where they're starting to gel. I had to add an extra package of the pectin, but if I can proof the gelling by putting them on a spoon and letting them cool, letting the spoonful cool for a bit. And if it doesn't run off the spoon, that means it's ready. Now take a look at the spoon of the jelly that we have just proofed. Remember that? Now that it is cooled, it is gelled, it doesn't pour off the spoon. So that means we've added enough sugar, enough pectin, and it's been at a boil for enough time now that we actually have a jelly product. So now let's take a look at our mason jars, see what amount of preparation we have for them. Nice and clean. Get out our funnel. And we can begin ladling some of the jelly mix into the jar. And watch out, it is hotter than boiling, even though the jelly mix does not look hotter. Water with concentrated sugar in it does have a higher boiling point than just plain water. And I don't want to top it off too much. There, that should be enough. Make sure we got no residue on the rim of the jar. Clean rims. And we put the cap on. And be very careful when you screw it down. This then needs to go back into the water bath. So now, after we have filled the jar and put the lid on, we're going to lower it very carefully, lower it back into the water bath. Let's get and bring another one out. Now we have all of our jars filled with the jelly and with the dome lids seated and the screw-on tops around to secure them in place. Now they're in the water bath, and we're going to have to keep them in there 5 minutes after the water reaches a boil. And then we'll be done. Turn off the water and let them cool, get cool enough to handle. As you can see, we are finished canning. Pulled them out after boiling for 5 minutes. We have different sized jars, pint jars and half-pint jars. So, you have been watching Canning Fruits and Vegetables with Darlene Wagner.